funny thing about light. It makes you feel safe, in control, like you can see everything coming. People walk around thinking the glow will always be there, guiding them, protecting them. But what happens when it all goes dark? No warning, no countdown. Just gone. The hum of the city dies, the screens go black, and every shadow suddenly gets a little thicker. That's when you find out who's really ready. That's when you see how much you've been leaning on the comfort of things you thought would never fail. In the dark, your eyes don't lie. You either adapt or you freeze. Comfort. What a fragile little thing people cling to. Like a child clutching a toy they think will never be taken away. You get used to the hum of the lights, the warmth in the air, the quiet assurance that tomorrow will look like today, and today looks like yesterday. And because of that, you start believing the world owes you that same rhythm, that same pulse, as if stability is your birthright. It's adorable, really. But comfort is a magician's trick. It lets you focus on the pretty coin in one hand while the other's already reaching into your pocket, stealing the thing you didn't think anyone could take. You sip your coffee, scroll your screen, laugh at something meaningless, and all the while you're blind to the fact that the floor beneath you is paper, thin. One wrong move, one unexpected moment, and suddenly you're falling. Falling into a reality where your little cushion has been ripped out from under you. And you didn't even hear the tear. The thing is, comfort doesn't leave politely. It doesn't knock on your door and explain, "I'm going away now." No. It disappears when you're mid-sentence, when you're smiling, when you're planning next week's dinner. It's the friend who doesn't call back, the paycheck that doesn't show up, the lights that flicker and then go out. You don't prepare for it because you don't want to imagine it. Your mind is too cozy in its little blanket of everything will be fine. But fine is an illusion that can dissolve in a single breath. And when it does, you realize just how much of your life was balanced on a wire you didn't even know was there. People like to think they'd be ready. If something bad happened, I'd adapt, I'd fight, I'd survive. But that's the funny part. You can't fight for what you never learned to live without. Comfort makes you soft, pliable, easy to bend and break. It teaches you dependence disguised as normalcy. The power's always on. The shelves are always stocked. the door always locks. You start to forget these are privileges, not guarantees. You forget how quiet the night can get when there's no hum of electricity. You forget how cold the air feels when heat is a luxury, not a button you press. And you forget how long the hours stretch when every distraction has been swallowed by the dark. It's not just about losing comfort. It's about the shock of realizing you weren't even holding it yourself. Someone else was, and they dropped it, maybe on purpose, maybe without noticing. But they held it, not you. And when you finally notice the empty hands you have left, it hits you. This was never yours to keep. It was borrowed, alone. And now the lender's gone. The worst part, you're not angry at them. You're angry at yourself for believing the lie for so long. That's why when comfort goes, it's not just a shift in your surroundings. It's a surgery without anesthesia. It cuts into your habits, your routines, your tiny daily rituals, the way you wake up, the way you eat, the way you fall asleep. Suddenly, all of it changes. And you don't have the luxury of asking why. It's already happened. You're just left standing in the dark, trying to piece together a life with scraps you barely recognize. And maybe, in that moment, you realize something you didn't want to know before. You were never safe, not really. Comfort, in its sweetest form, is just a lullaby. And lullabies are meant to put you to sleep, not prepare you for the fire alarm. When it vanishes, the quiet it leaves behind isn't peace. It's the roar of reality flooding in, too loud, too fast. And you stand there, heart pounding, wondering how you missed it all along. People love their routines. Same streets, same chairs, same time for breakfast, same bed at night. They say it's consistency, like that word alone makes them stronger. But all it really means is they've built a little prison with invisible walls. And here's the cruel twist. When you've spent years memorizing the pattern of the bars, you stop seeing them altogether. You call it home. You start thinking this neat little cage is the whole world. Until one day, the lock breaks, the door swings open, and you realize you have no idea where to go. That's the thing about people. They think familiarity is safety. But safety's a fairy tale, whispered to keep you from panicking. Every routine you swear by, it's a leash. Every habit you refuse to change, that's the chain. You think you own your life, but you're just pacing the same 10 steps back and forth, day after day, while the world outside your little loop keeps shifting, changing, morphing into something you don't even recognize anymore. And when the day comes that the lights go out, or the food runs out, or the rules change overnight, you'll find out just how useless all that consistency really was. Here's the fun part. You didn't even build your cage alone. Oh no. Every ad you see, every voice you listen to, every little comfort you're told you deserve, it's all been picked for you. A nice, neat package. It tells you when to wake up, what to eat, what to believe, who to trust. And you follow it like a good little passenger, thinking you're driving the car. But when the road vanishes beneath your wheels, you'll realize you were never steering in the first place. You were just along for the ride. People aren't afraid of the dark. Not really. They're afraid of being left alone with their thoughts in the dark. Because the second the noise stops, the hum of the fridge, the buzz of your phone, the chatter of the TV, you're left with only the sound of your own mind. And for most people, that's unbearable. You've stuffed your head so full of other people's ideas, other people's dreams, other people's distractions. You can't even hear your own voice anymore. And if you can't hear yourself, how will you know what to do when all the scripts you've been following get ripped up? The tragedy is, you can walk through life never questioning any of it. And it works right up until it doesn't. You tell yourself there's always going to be a store open, always going to be gas in the tank, always going to be a screen glowing in front of your face. That's the story you've bought into. But when that story ends, there's no chapter 2 waiting for you. You're just standing there, staring at blank pages. And blank pages are terrifying to people who've never learned how to write their own. You know what happens when routine is shattered. You start noticing things you didn't before. The way your footsteps echo in an empty hallway. The way silence seems heavier at night. The way your own breath feels loud in your chest. The tiny little details that got drowned out in the static of everyday life suddenly become deafening. And the worst part, you start realizing they were always there. You just ignored them because you were too comfortable to care. So here's the ugly truth. Comfort's not just a distraction. It's a drug, a soft, slow poison that seeps in until you can't imagine life without it. And like any addict. You'll swear you're fine, that you could quit anytime, that you're in control, but you're not. And when the plug gets pulled, when the supply runs dry, you're left shaking, desperate, clawing for something that isn't coming back. That's when the panic sets in. Not because the world changed, but because you never learned how to live without the illusion it gave you. Everyone's looking for a hero, someone to step in, take the hit, carry the weight. They don't say it out loud, of course, but it's in their eyes. That quiet, desperate hope that someone else will fix the mess, clean up the blood, face the danger. Because if it's someone else's job, then you get to stay comfortable, right? Safe, innocent. You get to keep your hands clean while someone else gets them dirty for you. That's the little arrangement people secretly crave. Protection without the price. But here's the catch. The one protecting you doesn't get that luxury. The one standing in the way of the storm has to take every hit meant for you. They see the ugliness you never have to look at. They make the decisions you're too scared to face. And in return, most of the time, you don't even notice they're there. You just keep moving through life, thinking you're untouched by danger, when in reality, you're standing on a shield that's slowly cracking under someone else's weight. It's funny, isn't it? People think protection is this noble, beautiful thing, but it's not clean. It's not pretty. It's brutal. It's exhausting. It's lonely. Because when you're the one holding the line, no one's behind you holding yours. You carry the fear in silence. Because if you let it show, the people you're protecting will start to crumble. You have to smile when you want to scream. You have to look calm when you're burning inside. And you have to keep standing even when your knees are about to give out. Most don't even realize that their guardian is human. They think strength is some endless well you can draw from forever. They forget the one who's protecting them bleeds, breaks, and aches just like they do, maybe more. They don't think about the nights where that person lies awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how much longer they can keep going before the weight crushes them. But here's the thing. Once you're the shield, you don't get to put it down. Not really. Because if you do, you know exactly what happens next. You can tell when someone's been doing it for too long. It shows in their eyes. That constant scanning of the room, that quiet calculation of every exit, every threat. They stop living in the moment and start living 2 steps ahead because they can't afford to be caught off guard. You laugh at a joke. They check the shadows. You enjoy the silence. They're listening for footsteps. You sleep easy. They stay awake, watching. That's the difference. Your peace is built on their paranoia. And here's the cruel part. When they're gone, you'll only notice it in the worst way possible. The shield disappears, and suddenly the wind hits you, the rain soaks you, the blows land where they never did before. You'll call it bad luck. You'll call it unfair, but really, it's just reality without your invisible wall. The truth is, you were never as safe as you thought. You were just covered by someone who decided you were worth the trouble. You think people say, "I've got your back," because it sounds good, but the real meaning is darker. It means they're willing to stand in the exact spot the danger's coming from. They're willing to let it hit them first. It's not poetry. It's sacrifice. It's choosing pain that wasn't yours to take. And once you understand that, you realize how rare it actually is. Not everyone is built for that kind of weight. Not everyone will take a bullet that was never meant for them. Most will move out of the way and let it hit you. That's why when you find someone like that, you don't let them slip away. Because they're not just keeping the wolves off your doorstep. They're the reason you can walk through your day without constantly looking over your shoulder. But you have to understand, it's not magic. It's not some supernatural shield. It's a person. A person who's chosen to stand between you and the chaos. And people like that, they don't last forever. People love the idea of control. They think life is this neat little story where you decide the plot, the twists, the ending. They sit there writing in their heads how tomorrow will go, how people will act, how things will turn out. They convince themselves they're the author, when in reality, they're just a character, and the real writer doesn't bother telling them what page they're on. It's a sweet lie, though. Keeps them calm, makes them think they're safe. But deep down, they know. It only takes one scene to flip the whole script. See, control is a costume. It looks impressive, makes you feel important, but underneath, it's fragile, paper thin. One unexpected moment, one word, one phone call, one accident, and suddenly you're not steering anymore. You're hanging on. You're not making decisions. You're reacting. The table flips, the pieces scatter, and you realize just how little say you actually have in the game. It's a nasty wake-up call, and most people can't handle it. They'll scramble to pick up the pieces, trying to glue them back where they were, pretending nothing's changed. But the truth, once the cracks show, you can't unsee them. You start noticing how unpredictable everything is. You hear it in the way someone's voice shakes. You see it in how plans crumble without warning. And then it hits you. There's no master plan you can trust. There's only what's happening now, and the fact that it can turn on you without notice. That's when people start to break. Because control isn't just about power. It's about comfort. It's the belief that if you do all the right things, you'll get the right results. But reality doesn't play by that rule. You can make every perfect move and still lose everything. You can lock every door, follow every step,